Hello everybody, Mike, aka the Magico13, here with the Out of This World series, episode 8. We have a ship that should look slightly familiar to you, building on the pad, and we are about to go look at our station because we have once again finished the plant lab. We did that last episode, I believe, as well. So here we are. We've got Bill, Bob, and Low Kerbin. Oh yes, ignore the little green numbers down there in the bottom. I forgot that I wasn't recording using Bandicam, and I was still running Bandicam to see what my frame rates were, and forgot that that would actually get recorded. If you want to know what I am using to record, I'm using the NVIDIA Shadow Play, because it gives me really good results for a decent file size and without much of a frame drop. My cat is climbing all over me right now, so if there's any like clicks and pops, that's the reason why. So we've got Bill. I was not paying attention at the time, but we will find out in a moment. I think this is Bill. Whichever one has higher stupidity. Yes, Bill. So we have Bill here. Oh, yes, that's 75 science is what we're going to get this time. We got 150 last time, so it looks like it probably just goes down by half each time. Let's see if we can't grab it out of here. This ship is a slightly different one compared to the last one. The last one had a heat shield underneath the plant lab so that we could recover the whole lab. This one does not. It decouples the entire lab and we destroy that. And the only thing that survives is the capsule. Well, ideally the only thing that survives is the capsule. It's a lot less weight for us to carry down, and so we don't have to worry so much about blowing it up on landing, which didn't really happen last time. Last time we just hit the water. So I turn on the life support in this one canister. I don't want to use all of them because that makes it harder to transfer stuff when I'm using KAS. I just have to go to every single one of them to transfer things. So if I only turn one on, fill that one up, I can transfer things in and out of it really easily. Prior to that, we were using the life support exclusively on the capsule. Well, I guess not the capsule. There's a stack-mounted life support container with something like 80 Kerbal days of food, which between the three of them would last, 80 divided by 3. And now they've just got... They still have like hundreds of days worth of food on there. Most of it's just turned off at the moment. So we have decoupled. We are now burning retrograde, trying to drop our periapsis. You can see that now. There goes the station. Periapsis down to 20 kilometers, 10. There we go. We have now got a periapsis that will hit. Ooh, I just scraped my beard on the microphone a little bit. So now it's just a matter of trying to line this up so that we get pretty close to the KSC. That way we can recover closely. There's no real reason we need to do that. They haven't implemented any sort of like money system where I think they want to have it eventually so that the closer you land to the KSC, the more money you get, or the less money it costs to recover, or something like that. That was something that they had talked about when they first added career mode and the ability to recover vessels, but something that they have not implemented quite yet. So now we're basically just coasting. Can do a couple crew reports, maybe an EVA report, I think at some point. Yeah, right now. Just take an EVA report. You might be okay for a few minutes, yes. In a couple minutes you will be crashing through the atmosphere, and with deadly reentry, that is quite deadly. We are currently going Mach 7 and increasing. And now the video is going to speed up because we just are gliding, and it's not terribly interesting. Point at retrograde, just hang there for a minute. We are now trying to use up all of our fuel. I think we've done that now. And now we decouple. So now it's just the capsule. Yeah, you can see we've got only enough food for about 9/10 of a day almost, and we are coasting very quickly over the KSC, almost going to make it to the island, and our parachutes are overheating. And our parachutes have exploded. Oh, well, huh. And now we're kind of spinning, and something else exploded. I think it was the camera, probably? I don't think they have very high heat tolerances. Yeah, we're even flying over the island runway, a little, to the north, I think. Yeah, that was definitely the camera. Still going Mach 3. Huh. Well, I don't think you're gonna make it, Bill. And that's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, you seem a little freaked out about it. I don't really blame you. That was like the worst 6 minutes of your life. It's about to become the last 7 minutes of your life. We might make it down by 7 minutes. It's 6:30 right now. Out of RCS, can't really do anything about that. We have absolutely zero propulsion right now. And we're going to hit the water, so that's not terribly useful. We can't do any sort of lithobraking. I can't turn this upside down at all. Can't slow it down, and pop goes Bill. So we quick load and our skip some stuff. Our parachutes started overheating. You can see we haven't decoupled yet. By spinning wildly, I've found that you can let your parachutes kind of cool off some, and also for whatever reason the aerodynamics just want us to go flat as a pancake instead of, any sort of more aerodynamic shape. So once we've slowed down sufficiently, we're only really going Mach 1 right now, at 12 kilometers, we can just decouple, let our parachutes go. You can see them there in the reefed position. And then as we hit 500 meters above ground level, we will have those fully open. With real Chute, it's kind of slow, so we can actually even use time warp. So while we're waiting, we are currently sitting at 22 subscribers. When we hit 25, aka 3 more subscribers, I want to do a special. And I haven't quite decided. I'm definitely open to alternate options, but I would like to send a ship with 25 Kerbols each, and change the name on them to be the names of everyone that I can see who's subscribed to me, which if you don't make your subscriptions public, I can't actually see if you're subscribed to me. So when we hit 25, I want to do a special where I take the 25 of you and I send you into the sun. Because what better way to show your appreciation than burning everybody in the sun? Definitely sounds fun to me. Actually, it's pretty hard to do. I think it needs something like 8 kilometers per second of delta V. I don't know if that's what you need in space, or if that's what you need total, but either way, it's a lot. So it's not going to actually be that easy of a mission. I am open to other options, though. So if you don't want to be sent into the sun, let me know in the comments what you would rather have me do. I'm also considering doing it with an English accent. I haven't decided entirely on that, so it'd be something like, well, hello. Oh god, this is going to be bad. I haven't done an English accent in a really long time. Yeah, this is really bad. So I'm going to stop doing that now. I apparently can't do it on command. I keep saying I need to stop doing that. Bill Kerman is currently jumping in the air trying to get an EVA report that's considered flying, which is all for naught because we actually already have that one, apparently. I think I got that one when I was messing around with the plane. So now we're just going to recover this and get all the science that is contained. Something like 77, yeah, 77.3. And then we can go about picking out another part. We've got 115 science total, and these next nodes all require 90. So we can choose one of them. Alternatively, we can choose that rocket construction one, which is, I think, 45, but it's not as useful. I would like to get docking ports, but first I want to get the extra science stuff that will allow us to get more science. There's the science lab that has the thermometer, all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to go back to the tracking station, back to that thing on the pad, which should look kind of similar. It's a 4A KEO ComSat Mark III. ComSat 3, yeah. This is a near replica of the ComSats that are in equatorial orbit. This one, however, is not going equatorial and also isn't an exact replica. We're using Kerbal construction time, so it takes time to build these things. We have to warp until ready. I'm going to take some pictures. Yeah, I like how Joule kind of bounces up and down, and you can see that's Lathe right there. We really need to go there. The only issue is it's not really worth that much science because the moon has biomes and Minmus has biomes. Both of them orbit Joule. I think it takes really only about a day to get to the moon and something like 2 kilometers per second of delta V. It depends on your orbit and how efficiently you go there. So I'm thinking we should go to the moon soon. The next thing we're going to do after this is put a Kethane refinery on BOP for doing other large missions where we can just refuel on BOP. So yes, now we have actually launched this thing finally, and I closed the flight computer so that I can look at it. But oh, it's a day launch. We haven't actually had a day launch in a while. I need to stop doing night launches. It's just that days take, I think, a full 24 hours instead of 6 hours in Alternis, so waiting for it is kind of inefficient. We'd have to wait up to a day, I mean, I guess really only like 12 hours, in order to get a day launch, and those 12 hours could have been spent doing or building another ship on the pad. That's not an issue with the build list in Kerbal construction time that I have actually now released at this point. It's not an issue with that, it's only an issue with this version, which requires you to build them on the pad. Because you can't build things on the pad when other things are there, and you can't automatically like start building the next one while you're launching something, because you can't switch vessels while launching. Also, I think at this point in time you can't leave the game. So, yeah, if you try to leave the game, it will stop all progress, and you will never resume progress. Yeah, those are things that are fixed in the new version that I've been working on. So yes, this thing is going north. It's going on a polar orbit, and you may have seen the little satellite icon in the top left, right there, right above the far window. That you should recognize from the last episode where we sent a mapper to BOP. This is, in fact, a mapper for Kerbin. I say for really strangely. I said fur. It's weird. So we've got a mapper for ScanSat, yeah, and we've got a Kethane detector on here as well. And these are just going to go into a 500-kilometer orbit. It's less than the 1.5 mega meter orbit that we were doing before, 1,500 kilometer. The reason being that we don't want it to take that long. I think there are limits for how far MapSat and Kethane can go, and I think 500 is actually too high, but I didn't know that at the time. So now we just need to set up a maneuver, and because this is so elliptical, it doesn't actually want to, stay nice. So that's 534 by like 460. So there's something like 70 kilometers different between that, which is quite a bit. We want to get this to as close to circular as possible. Honestly, not for any particular reason, but we know that if it'll work on one side, it'll work on the other. So like if it'll work at apoapsis, it'll work at periapsis if it's circular. Which actually I think I end up getting at something like slightly less than 500 and slightly more than 500. And I think ScanSat requires that you be less than 500. But it doesn't actually tell you that on the parts. It only says that on the website, which is not always that easy to check when you're in the middle of a flight. I suppose I could check it during the VAB, but that's also really annoying. I'm in the process of building a ship. I don't want to look at stuff then. I just want to be able to see it on the part. I mean, it makes sense to me that in the description it should say works between 10 kilometers and 500 kilometers. So hopefully that's something that they add later. Right now I'm just basically ranting. So yeah, this will go in a polar orbit. As Kerbin slowly rotates, we will see more and more of it. The Kethane is not too important. I figured if I'm going to go on a polar orbit anyway, might as well have Kethane. However, I think Kethane maxes out at 300 kilometers. I think. Might be less than that, so I don't actually think we ever get the Kethane working. So as this is a probe, we only can use the flight computer for executing burns. I'm just going to use the maneuver node version, which this is a 46-second burn, which is actually not going to be a 46-second burn because we just dropped that. So it's going to be a different burn than 46 seconds, but it's going to take a while anyway. And it's going to be a minute-long burn, and we're doing it entirely on the other side of the maneuver node, so it's going to get a little messed up. If you don't know already, in order to have a maneuver node execute and execute properly, you want to split the burn half in front of the maneuver node and half afterward, which I'm making hand signals for, which is not really helping you. So if you got a minute-long burn, you want to start it 30 seconds before you hit the node and end it 30 seconds afterwards. The reason being that maneuver nodes assume an instant change in velocity, which is not physically possible. So if you want to get it actually correct, you need to make sure that you can average your velocity to be the same. So yeah, you can see this is not quite the same. Our apoapsis is too high and our periapsis is too low. And 470 by, I want to go 530. 530, yeah. So we're actually going the right velocity. It's just that our orbit is kind of messed up. So instead, what we need to do, I'm going to do the wrong thing first. We need to burn radially, but I'm currently setting it up to burn at the wrong place. This won't actually change our periapsis. What we need to do is burn radially halfway between our apoapsis and our periapsis, or roughly halfway. And that will just kind of shift so that our periapsis increases and our apoapsis decreases. And since they are 60 apart, it'll average to being 30 plus the periapsis and 30, well, the apoapsis minus 30, so 500. And this is a quick burn, so we just let the computer handle that. We get 494 by 506. That's not bad, honestly. It's a roughly 500 kilometer orbit. In the new Kerbal construction time, you would have to have, yeah, you could have an or a periapsis of 450 kilometers and still be allowed to do time jumping, which probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, but time jumping requires a periapsis that's within 10% of the apoapsis, and that is an assumed circular orbit by Kerbal construction time. That's not necessarily like any specific valid one at all. So yeah, we are now mapping. We are currently at 494,864 meters, and that will that is going up as we are headed towards our apoapsis. I think once we hit... Oh, that's the end of the episode. I guess we'll finish that next time. Until then, I'm Mike, aka TheMagico13. Thanks for watching.